I'm Wendy Wright from the Rutgers University Teaching Assistant Project, here today to talk to you about how to deal with politically charged or uncomfortable issues in your classroom. So say, either intentionally because it's the subject of your class, or unintentionally because conversation turns to a perhaps unexpected direction, something politically charged comes up in your classroom. Our first piece of advice is don't shy away. Sometimes that discomfort might be about race, might be about gender, makes you want to leave that subject alone. You're worried about what your students might think, what they might say, and you might think it better to leave it just there. I say no. By leaving issues just out there, you're going to leave the students who are often vulnerable to work it out by themselves. As the leader in the classroom, you can take these uncomfortable moments and make them productive for you and your class. Now, how to deal with these discussions? First of all, these difficult discussions can be best managed by working through the facts. Keep things on ground level. Keep them, either based, you can base them in the texts, you can base them in even people's personal experiences. You don't want to make the discussion too abstract because for some students, these are not abstract issues. These are students' individual experiences, and by trying to keep them too up in the air or esoteric, you might be denying their experiences. However, one of the best things you can do is to allow people to speak from their heart and then help give them the tools, and them and the rest of the class, the tools to understand that experience in the broader social political context or in the context of the subject matter of your class. And so as you work through these discussions, you want to keep to the task, keep to real world, keep to the facts, marshal your texts. Where can you go? But don't let these discussions kind of go off on tangents about what might happen, where this hypothetical road might be. That can get into dangerous water, and you can end up having conversations that end up being bizarre, unproductive, and potentially damaging to the students who feel vulnerable in these situations. As you work through your conversation, at the end of the classroom discussion, you want to find a way to debrief. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that your students are in a place that feels productive for them. It's incredibly frustrating for a student to have to deal with a controversial issue and then walk away with nothing resolved, feeling like nothing was learned. How do we know how our students feel? We ask them. This can either be done in discussion, so you can kind of frame, okay, now we've had this discussion, how do you feel about the discussion itself? And if you feel the classroom discussion is working, you can get that feedback from your students right then. If you still sense that things might be a little more uncomfortable, or you want to get perhaps a more honest, more comprehensive feedback, you can ask for written feedback. One good way to do this would be through a 1-minute paper. At the end of the class, reserve a little time and ask your students to reflect in 1 to 3 minutes about how they feel about the discussion. Do they have any frustrations? Is there anything that they would like to read further? They can turn these in either with names or anonymously, and so you can be sure that your students are able to say exactly how they feel about the discussion. And so maybe you didn't sense any more discomfort, but you're actually finding out that your students do still have some reservations about how the discussion was handled. In responding to that, make sure you just don't throw it away. If your students want to process more, give them a space to do so. That might be more in-class time, picking that theme up and dragging it into the next lesson, or further by giving them resources both in the class and beyond in the general community to take this conversation in a productive way. And so that might be providing resources, both perhaps further texts, further institutional resources, where are places in the university that they can go and continue to, with you or amongst themselves or with the broader community, to have these important and crucial conversations. So again, 3 main points. Don't shy away just because something's uncomfortable. 2, state the facts, ground things in real life. And 3, debrief. Those are our advice for dealing with controversial topics. Have a great day.